Hey friends, if you have not watched part 1, I would suggest going down to the link and watching it first so you're all caught up on why Jesus was not the Jewish Messiah. In the video before, we talked about how there were 4 prophecies that the Messiah will fulfill. They were, number 1, the Messiah will rebuild the temple. Number 2, he will gather all Jews back to the land of Israel. Number 3, he will usher in an era of world peace. Number 4, he will spread universal knowledge of the God of Israel. Today's video we are going to talk about the rebuilding of the temple. The temple was a big responsibility to the Jewish people. It was their way of showing the world who God was, and to be a light to the whole world. When they lost it, and the land it was on, they were devastated. One way the Jews look for the Messiah is that this man will rebuild the temple on the Temple Mount, and will restore the Jewish religion back to the days of David and Solomon. The temple will once again function as it did then, including the rituals and rites it carried out in those days. What was the Jewish temple? The inner part of the temple had the altar. The altar is said to have been built on the very spot where Adam had been created. The altar was a large square that was 5 meters high and 16 meters wide. On the corners there were 4 small boxes called horns. In order to reach the top of the altar, a ramp was constructed. Steps were not allowed to reach the top because of the verse, Exodus 20:23. Do not climb up to my altar with steps, so that your nakedness not be revealed on it. 3 separate fires would be burned on top of the altar. 1 for the burnt sacrifices, 1 for the coals that would be taken inside the sanctuary, and the third was the perpetual fire, which would always burn. Being raised Christian, I was told all about the Holy of Holies. This is the place where God's Spirit is said to dwell. In this room, only the high priest was allowed to go once a year. The Ark of the Covenant was held here. On this day, the high priest would enter the Holy of Holies 4 times. The first time he burnt the incense. The second time he sprinkled the blood of the bull once upward and 7 times downward. On the third time, he sprinkled the blood of the goat that was offered to God in the same manner. On the high priest's 4th entry into the Holy of Holies, he removed the incense vessel and coal shovel. When the Messiah is revealed, he will have the temple rebuilt, and the inner workings of the temple will resume. This contradicts the Christian idea that Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice, and no other sacrifices will ever happen again. The Jewish Messiah will make sure the temple is fully restored. This includes the continuation of the burnt sacrifices to God. Looking through all this information, I found out how little I actually knew about what the Jews believed when I was a Christian. I think it's important for anyone to look not only into their own faith, but the faith of others. When you see things in a different perspective, it can change your point of view, and maybe show you what you were taught is not always the truth. Never stop asking questions, and seek out the truth for yourself. Remember, you alone can break out of the bubble and start thinking for yourself.